Twitter is at Joy News on TV. Let's start with the old Parliament House building, which was gutted by fire in December 2013, and it has been demolished to pave way for office space for the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice Church. But Member of Parliament for Adaklu constituency, Honorable Agboja, is calling for a halt of the exercise, adding, destroying the edifice means destroying part of Ghana's history, which could attract tourists and also generate revenue for the country. What do you make of the concerns raised by the lawmaker?
The first Parliament House has been demolished. Do you agree that it shouldn't have been demolished or not?
I don't agree it's been demolished.
Why?
Just the Cape Coast Castle, I mean, it could have been demolished, but it's left tourists to come and see. So I think the Parliament House too should have been left there for people to come and see, because it's something that belongs to the nation. And yes, I don't think it should have been demolished.
Okay. What about you?
It should be abolished because it's an old parliament, and because it was burnt down, that's why they built a new parliament. Do you get it? And then Shraj is something that also partakes in the development of the country. And if they need a place to actually further what they want to do, I think, and if that place is an appropriate place for them to use, I think it shouldn't be served as a tourist attraction, because I don't see if the tourist people come into, I don't know what they are going to even get. It's burnt. I don't know. I'm not trying to say that if it is there, it's going to serve something good or bad. But then I'm saying that actually it should be abolished because they also serve as, they play in Ghana. Is of no use again. They have new parliament. So if they want history, the new parliament has documentaries of old history. Do you get it? And it's the same parliament.
I do agree with him. This is a new generation. Lots of us, even though I'm of this age, there's some people my age who doesn't even know the old, the Parliament House. So I think it should have been there for history purpose.
Yeah, I do agree with him. Why? Because it should be there to serve for history, so that generation coming could be able to do what? Trace history to its origination.
Interesting comments from the streets of Accra. Let's check what you've been saying on Facebook.
Right, so Samuel Ford takes us off to something else. Samuel Ford, I'll come to your comment later, but let's do this other one. Brema Kubaji says something drastic should be done about the situation and make those who did that face the law. We can't dissipate our national assets like that. What can a country cry? Abu says, I want it pulled down to pay for an edifice. There are so many tourist sites in Ghana that needs attention more than the old Parliament House. Adnan says, mismanagement was the cause of the fire. We don't value state assets and allow them to be consumed by fire, and we throw our hands into the air seeking for solutions. How many managers of state institutions have got their houses burned? They will never allow that to happen to themselves. My suggestion is that the old Parliament House should be roofed and partitioned to provide the needed office space. Pulling it down will cost us a lot of money.
Burma Justice says, how much revenue with numerous natural resources never give us value? What can condemned building yield? Pull it down for new edifice for special prosecutors to quickly start charging thieves, especially Yanum. Dangote Mutala says, the old Parliament House has been there for God knows how long and has not attracted even a single tourist. I mean, what do you go there to watch? Absolutely nothing. Pulling it down is the best. And Bismarck Kojo Otabo writes, what history? There are so many tourist sites that have been left to rot, and we're here crying over a burnt building. The Media Simon says, and at the end of the day, you will hear corrupt acts pertaining to the cost of the building. A committee will be set to investigate the matter. Trust me, there isn't any need pulling it down. And Isaac Kelvin says, big no. They can demolish Department of Community Development, dilapidated buildings opposite Ministry of Education, build it into a high-rise building to accommodate many offices. Well,
so let's go back to the very first comment. And Ford was talking about SHS, free SHS. It says, please Israel, this question was not asked, but kindly permit my opinion on this. For the free SRC dues, I think it won't work in some schools because I'm currently the assistant school prefect in one of the prominent schools in Sunyani, and taking the internal SRC meetings, for instance, when the prefects come for the meeting, they cry for refreshment, and so they need to be refreshed, and there's nothing like free. So we have to charge the form once, entering registration fee. But listen, Samuel Fort, how about if you turn to the pantry and ask that they provide some refreshments for you? They can give you some cocoa or something too.
Oh, quick baby. And also, today marks exactly 16 years when one of the world's deadliest terrorist attacks occurred, claiming close to 3,000 lives whilst injuring over 6,000 others. By now, you should know I'm talking about the 9/11 disaster, in which 19 militants associated with the Islamic extremist group Al-Qaeda hijacked 4 airplanes and carried out suicide attacks against targets in the United States. 2 of the planes were flown into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York City. A 3rd plane hit the Pentagon just outside Washington, D.C., and the 4th plane crashed in a field in Pennsylvania. 16 years on, do you think the world has been able to find a solution to terrorism?
Not at all. I don't think so. Personally, I would say fighting terrorism in the world we have nothing to write home about when it comes to that, because most of our leaders have not done anything really to get rid of terrorism in the world. A lot of things happen sometimes. Like recently, not quite long ago, Kenya, it happened there, and we don't know which country is next. So I think the leaders have not done anything really about it.
Well, actually, I don't think it has really have found a lasting solution. Because if there is, definitely they would find, we would be hearing of this, what's the name of, taking Nigeria as a case study. We wouldn't have Boko Haram people still operating effectively. So I don't think much have been done about it to curtail their activities.
What do you think can be done about it?
Well, I think, those people don't have much resources on their own. They still have connection within government. So if government can be sieved, if I should use that word, or they can take off those corrupt, in quotes, because people are in there who are smuggling machines and other stuff.
Not at all, because I think after the September 11, we have seen more of such things.
All right, and many of the messages are also on Facebook. Israel, let's check them out.
Yes, Barry Jeremiah says, not at all. This is the time that terrorists are displaying all their skills in distraction. They, the terrorists, have no objectives but just to kill. This is the time that more resources, both human, technology, and materials, need to be invested in the fight against this terrorism that has found its way into human environment. Judicious Odro says, not at all, because many terrorists have now developed many ways of attacking through technology as the world is trying to curb it. Barry Makubaji says the world hasn't found any solution to terrorism 16 years after the Osama bin Laden-led 9/11 attacks in the U.S. In fact, terrorism is creeping closer and closer to us. For example, here in Ghana, people can walk into one's office and haul him out with some brazen bravado. They can go to the extent of scuttling a court session and all. we only need to pray more. And Demdea says, this is a question nobody needs to ask, and of course you don't need to. Terrorism is a continental problem, and its frequency is equally problematic. We all know it is only the solutions we either don't know or not implementing, or both.
And Michael Asari says it's yes and no. This is because we see that various governments, especially in the Western world, are putting in various security measures to curtail terrorism. Yet these miscreants sometimes manage to cause havoc. And right, terrorists are created and financed by those powerful countries. They intend to fight them when they feel cheated and betrayed. So curb it, fight their financier. And Nat Offer Dodu says, I think big no, because terrorism has been a function of their day, but those who execute this mission, I think, are mad and need a health advice or treatment. Moreover, God is our helper. Oh, very interesting comments there. Finally, being cheated upon by your spouse is one of the most dreadful moments anyone could face in any relationship, and its repercussions could be deadly. So tell me, what would be your first reaction if you ever found your spouse cheating?
I'm just going to stare at her. I'm like this. Like, give her a very deep gaze. Like, are you really doing this? I'm not really going to act any stupid or act violent. I just will just be silent for some, minutes, try to soak it in before I take any action. But I'm not sure I'll act like the way Fiona Schwarzenegger's husband did. No, that's so, that's so basic.
Well, I'll be surprised and shocked, but it depends. The best I can do is just divorce.
Nothing violent.
I'll be surprised, I'll be tensed, I'll be shocked looking at them. But the best I can do is just walk away. I don't think I'll video it and then let there be a leakage just like his husband did. I don't think that's right.
My first reaction, I'll be kind of flabbergasted in the first place, but I wouldn't utter any word. Probably cheating leads to a lot of things. Depends on the individual in question. For me, per se, I wouldn't say anything. I'll just keep quiet and just walk away.
What would be your first?
I'll just be coded and then I'll leave. I'll just walk back.
Without doing anything?
I won't do anything.
Why?
My spouse. That means it's something he wanted to do, so he's doing it. So me, I need to go home, like understand, maybe leave him, go to somewhere very cold, get a drink, relax, and then think about it. Maybe there's something I'm not giving him that makes him to go to the next person.
I'll just stare at him. When he's done, I'll just leave.
Without doing anything?
Yes, he's not worth any effort. He just showed that by cheating.
I'll just take it to court where I signed and I took an oath of marrying the lady, and I'm just going to stop everything there. I'll take a legal action against my wife, and that is it. I'm going to end it there. I'm not going to do anything stupid because if I do that, it's going to breach the fundamental human right of the person, as in Chapter 5 of the 1992 Constitution. So I'm not going to take any drastic action against it. I just have to go to court and make sure that I'll cause a divorce.
So I like that lawyer who doesn't want to breach fundamental human rights, but
he sounds like one.
What was the first guy trying to say? He was like, I'll just be like, really?
Yeah, I'll just
so like, Israel, really? Are you cheating? Sir.
Judicious Odro says, I think I'll take my phone and snap a picture and use it as evidence. After that, then I congratulate them for the union. But I will make sure it doesn't come out, because I just want to put them in a hot weather, that's all. Latif Hussein, he says, I will not say anything. I'll just come out of the room and get some place and sit. Never offer any word to either of them. They'll respect you. Oheneba says, sit there and watch them finish and ask if she enjoyed it. And tell her to keep the pride money and wish her and a new partner all the best in life.
Okay. And
Apana
Charles says, yeah, it means he or she does not love you, and it's better you quit that relationship. It's really disgusting and disgraceful to do that. And I think I agree with Apana Charles on that.